News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Accra. A digital address GA0993341. We're also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Yem FM in Bolgatanga, Pad FM in Dalmongo, and Sky FM in Bono region. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Hub, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G. Just a touch. In this edition, former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe challenges the Akufo-Addo government to provide source of funds for payment of Ghanaians who lost their monies in the savings and loans cleanup.
The depositors will be paid. That's more bailout costs. Why is the provision for bailout costs zero in the 2020 budget? Where is the money going to come from?
We'll bring you the answers plus an analysis of a walkout of President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address. Majority Leader says minority MPs have the right to debate the President's State of the Nation address despite their decision to walk out.
Members who are not in the chamber when an issue is being discussed still have the right, once they enter the chamber, to participate in voting. Our laws allow for them to do that.
We'll also tell you what minority MPs were doing after that walkout.
So what have you been doing over the last hour or so since you, the minority, walked out of the chamber?
Well, as you can see, I'm in my office listening to the address being given by the President.
We have that coming up, and also medical supplies for facility meant for women and children in Bunkrugu, Nadoli district looted. Today, assembly members are seeking a house-to-house search.
Beds, louvers, mattresses, fans, and other things. And then the whole place was abandoned.
We have sports.
Former WBO Super Bantamweight champion Isaac Royal Storm Dogo is set for a return to the ring in May against Mexican Enrique Benashi.
And later we'll join you. Intercepted leaked examination questions of ongoing promotion exams of teachers to various positions. We have all that and more coming up here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. And in our very first story, former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe has challenged the Akufo-Addo administration to supply details of how it intends to pay people who lost monies in the recent cleanup of Ghana's savings and loan sector. The president declared at a State of the Nation address yesterday that depositors who lost monies in the exercise by the Bank of Ghana will be paid in full. The central bank shut down over 300 of such institutions across the country, but it is emerging that there was no provision in the 2020 budget for these payment. But first, here's a wrap of events at the address yesterday.
The past three State of the Nation addresses by President Akufo-Addo have been characterized by a semblance of drama, from the display of placards with interesting inscriptions to the sealing of mouths with plasters. Often, these are expressions of displeasure by the minority, and this year, the minority MPs did not disappoint. They walked out shortly after President Akufo-Addo had taken his seat. Some majority MPs then crossed over to the minority side to occupy their seat. The president remained resolute, touting his achievements. First, about the economy.
The reputable global financial media house earlier this week highlighted Ghana as the top candidate for an economic leap in Africa.
On the health front, the president said Ghana had the largest medical drone delivery service in the world.
We're employing drones to deliver emergency medical supplies in remote areas. And today, Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery service in the world.
President Akufo-Addo had promised to modernize Ghana's economy. He insisted this was on course, further arguing that the fight against illegal mining had been largely successful.
Some excavators were also seized, and a number of them have gone missing. The police have arrested and charged some of the alleged culprits, and investigations are ongoing. No one involved will be shielded, no matter what their positions or political colors are.
He summed up his address by saying that Ghana was in competent hands.
The message of the State of the Nation is that our nation is in good health. May God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana. and make us great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Now, right after ending his address, President Akufo-Addo had some comments to make about the empty minority seat.
Mr. Speaker, my party and I know the nature of the task before us on the 7th of December, and that is to occupy all. That's our task.
We pray that the good Lord will oblige all his wishes, including the latest one he made of full occupation of this honorable house.
And that was the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Mike Okwe.
Now, the walkout of the address by the minority. The walkout of the address by the minority, of course, is one of the issues that nearly marred the address by the president. But what does this mean for Parliament and Ghana's democracy? Joining us on the line is Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. You are a parliamentary watcher of international repute. You've been monitoring events yesterday. What do you make of what you saw? Hello, Dr. Rahman. It appears Dr. Draman is unable to hear me at this point, but we'll reconnect to Dr. Draman's line. Of course, the issue about whether the minority will be allowed to debate the State of the Nation address following their walkout yesterday is also an issue that came up yesterday. We've heard some members of the majority side saying that they will not allow the minority to participate in the debate of the State of the Nation address. Well, today that issue came up. We'll hear from the majority leader shortly. But Joy News checked what they could be doing whilst they walked out during the address. This is parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku Gapo's report.
We're continuing our visits to the offices of MPs to find out what they are doing. Richard Koshiga is the MP for the Keta constituency. So what have you been doing over the last hour or so since you, the minority, walked out of the chamber?
Well, as you can see, I'm in my office listening to the address being given by the president. So that's what I've been doing, listening to the president in my office.
If you really wanted to listen to him, wouldn't it have worked better you sitting in the chamber and listening to him than to walk away to your office to come listen to him?
Well, of course, that's a decision we in a minority took, not to be in the chamber, by way of protest and to register our displeasure of the happenings in our country.
I've come to the office of the Member of Parliament for Odododio Neil and Vanderpoint. Let's see what's happening here. The office is closed, but I can hear the television in the background. Is he here or he's out? Well, maybe he's not here.
Well, that's parliamentary correspondent Joseph Okugapo checking on the minority after they walked out, and definitely some of them were listening and watching the address as the president delivered it. Dr. Rashid Rahman joins us once again. He's the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Thank you once again for your time, Dr. Rashid Rahman. So I've been asking what you make of what you saw yesterday. Of course, the minority say they are sending a clear signal by that action. Do you think they will, in the end, achieve what they are seeking?
Emefa, I have a lot of doubts. I mean, they sent a very clear message, a political message. But whether that action would get them answers for the 6 or so grievances that they outlined in their press conference, I am not too sure about that.
But in all, though, it looks like there have been a huge public backlash for that action that they undertook yesterday. But the minority, at least speaking to some of them, they stand by what they did. They say that indeed that is the only way to get heard. And I don't know, is it something that may have gone wrong? Do you think that they got the reaction that they were expecting?
Well, I think maybe from the reaction of Ghanaians, we can read that, all of us are getting to a point where we are getting too tired of this politicking between the two major parties, and people expect something different. People expect that our major daily problems are resolved by the people that we elected to sit down together and resolve those problems. I mean, we are a democracy, and we are not a one-party state. So the majority needs the minority, and the minority needs the majority. One way or the other, they have to find a way of sitting down to dialogue. Otherwise, I think Ghanaians are just going to be fed up with both of them.
So,
the two major parties.
Briefly, Dr. Draman, could they have done it any other way?
Well, in parliamentary practice, I mean, walkouts and so on are accepted kind of strategies, particularly by minority groups in parliament. I mean, however, I think the big question that we all need to be asking is, is the timing the right one? And again, I want to go back to this tit for tat that we continue to see. I mean, if you look at maybe what has happened in the last 10 years or so, there have been a lot of walkouts by these two parties. And if you remember also, I think there was even a walkout on President Mahama by the then minority in 2013 or so during the swearing.
Well,
so on and so.
Okay, but they insist that they were not in parliament at all because they had registered their concerns and the issue was in court by then. But let's head to parliament, and Joseph Opoku Gakpo is on the line. We are grateful for your time. Dr. Rashid Draman, he's the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Well, this issue about whether the minority will be allowed to participate in the debate is on the floor as we speak, and Joseph Opoku Gakpo joins us. Joseph, bring us up to speed on what both sides have been saying.
So the deputy majority whip in Parliament, Martin Indam, was actually drawing the Speaker's attention to how come the minority MPs were not present on the floor. That was on Thursday, and indicated that they first of all shouldn't have been marked as present, but the Speaker directed that we should have a situation where the records of the House would maintain that they were present, but indicate that they walked out at a point in time. And then again, in the course of the discussion, the second deputy majority whip also drew the Speaker's attention that these minority MPs did not participate in the State of the Nation address and was raising questions about whether they should be allowed to participate in the debate on the address next week, which will run from Tuesday until next week, Friday.
Now, hold on, Joseph. Let's listen to what transpired.
A question will be put, and the rules provide that members who are not in the chamber when an issue is being discussed still have a right, once they enter the chamber, to participate in voting. What it means is that if members were not in the chamber to listen to the president, they still technically have the right to contribute to the debate. Our laws allow for them to do that. The issue may be a matter of morality, but that one will be left to the minority. But technically, they cannot be faulted if they want to participate in the debate.
So, except of what transpired in the House, we had the majority leader attempting to bring closure to this matter on whether the minority should be allowed to debate. What was the response of the minority to this? Hello, Joseph. It appears we've lost Joseph Opoku Gakpo on the line, but of course we'll be talking about this throughout the day and subsequently on other bulletins. But moving on, one of the highlights of the address was the presidential promise to pay every customer who lost money during the cleanup of the savings and loan sector.
I would like to repeat that all depositors of the savings and loans and microfinance institutions, including DKM, which collapsed in 2015, will receive 100% of their deposits too once the validation exercise is concluded.
But former Finance Minister Seth Terkper wants government to come clean as he maintains no allocations were made for such expenditure in the budget.
His Excellency said yesterday, we heard him, the depositors will be paid. That's more bailout costs. Why is the provision for bailout costs zero in the 2020 budget? Where is the money going to come from? Outside the budget, we know that the current bond that was made up to 2.2 billion or so is going to go into energy and all these costs. Why are we removing them from the arrears framework? Why have past governments been bold to include these things to show the deficit? So I'm saying that let us know the real picture of the economy. The same thing with debt. All the things that we say we are going to spend on, where is the money going to come from? Because the 2% is not even enough to run government. It's not enough. So where is it going to come from? All this ought to be reflected for Ghanaians to know the true cost of the projects and things that are going to be done next year.
But Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwating had his answer.
If the strategies as we met them by the previous administration had been maintained, Onotekpe is right when he says, look, the president instructs that pay everybody 100%. And we now have a responsibility to respond to the directives of the president. Governance is about people. If we have not made provision for it and there's no space within the budget, it is for government to create that space. The joy you bring.
So no space was created for the bailout in the budget?
There is some space in the budget, but once we are going through the validation, and it seems to us very clearly that we would have to make additional provisions, and we would do that.
What does that mean?
What it means that, well, we will find a way.
What way are you going to find?
But when we have finished, you would know. So I should not sit here and preempt discussions we are having within government.
Will you borrow?
We will get there if we have to. Why are you in a hurry?
The people want to know. The people who are going to queue
on
Monday.
What the people have to understand is that when they go, they will get their money. That's what they're interested in. In fact, the big questions you're posing now, I can tell you there are people listening and they wish you would not pose them. Let this guy be quiet. Let me go and collect my money. So I can tell you that we will pay them. It is for us to sit in-house and to find a way of meeting this expenditure in a way that does not upset the broad fiscal objectives we are setting for ourselves. So government is about people. We will do so.
That's the Deputy Finance Minister, Kweku Kwating. They both spoke on the Super Morning Show with Daniel Dati. Now let's cross over to the Northeast region now, because the medical supplies for a facility meant to reduce mother and child deaths in the Bunkrugu, Nakbanduri districts have been looted. In fact, even the doors and windows to the facility have also been removed. The assemblyman for Bunkrugu South, Naja Daniel, wants the police to begin a house-to-house search.
When a pregnant woman wants to deliver, if they cannot take care of her in the clinic here, we have to get a motor king, move here to Bindi Hospital, which will take us some time, and then the woman will suffer it a lot. The nurses came here and worked for only 4 days and then left back to the old hospital. They were there and then they left, they bounded the facility, and finally what we heard that people are stealing things here, and then we came and found out they've stolen a lot of things. They've stolen beds, louvers, mattresses, fans, and other things. And then the whole place was abandoned. I want us to be moving house to house and then get some information. And we know some people who have taken this inside their rooms and then they are sleeping there.
That's the assemblyman for Bunkrugu South, Naja Daniel. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko is on that beat. He joins us on the line. Ilyasu, he's proposing a house-to-house search to the police. Has the police taken that advice?
The police said they are already investigating the matter, but that's what the assemblyman is proposing to the police here.
Tell us a bit about this facility that we're talking about.
Well, this is about the 8-unit structure that was built here in response to an increasing cases of maternal and child death. It was funded by the JICO, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, and it was built for the district clinic, and so they are taking charge of it. But unfortunately, just when it was handed over, it was subsequently closed down, and later authorities reported that all the equipment have been looted by unknown people.
And when did this happen?
Well, it happened in 2014, and that is why the assemblyman is calling for the DC at the time to be interrogated by the police.
Well, but what has the district director of health been saying about the situation?
Well, he said they have compiled a report to the funding agency, that is JICA, and also they sent a report to the district health authorities as well as the regional health authorities.
But if this happened in 2014, why have we waited so long? Did they explain to you why?
Well, they said they have reported the incident to the police, of course, and also the district authorities. So they are waiting for the district authorities to respond, and it appears the district the district authorities too have not acted on this issue.
Interesting. That's correspondent Ilyasu Tanko there, reporting from the Northeast region. We'll take a quick break. It's a good time, don't you think so? On the midday news, when we return, Joy News has intercepted leaked examination questions of ongoing promotion exams of teachers to various positions. Please stay for the more.
Bank was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Joy News has intercepted leaked examination questions of the ongoing promotion exams of teachers to various positions. Questions for the examination by the Ghana Education Service, as well as the answers, are said to have leaked hours to the exams. This is the first time the Ghana Education Service is conducting promotional exams for teachers, a shift from the interviews that are conducted annually. Joy News' Richard Kujonyako has been investigating this story. He joins us on the line. Richard, which category of teachers are writing these exams?
Well, for these are teachers who are currently on superintendent position, principal, superintendent, assistant director 1, assistant director 2, and then the deputy director positions in the Ghana Education Service. As we early on highlighted, this is the first time exams are being written by teachers before they end their promotions to the grades that we have mentioned so far.
Now, what have you picked or gathered from the ongoing examinations as far as the leakages are concerned?
Well, what we have picked was that questions went viral before the exams actually took place. We intercepted 2 of these questions, one for the assistant director, 2 exams, where all the 75 multiple choice questions plus their answers were leaked. Some of the teachers I spoke with after the exam say they were surprised that some of their colleagues could actually finish answering the 75 questions under 20 minutes and were eager to leave the hall. The other leaked questions I also intercepted were that of the deputy director positions, and Emefa, that exam is currently being written at the various centers across the country. They started at midday, but the questions were leaked a day before this exams actually is being written.
Now, have you confronted authorities handling the exams with these evidence, and what have they been saying?
Well, so I tried sharing these leaked questions on social media to elicit some responses, and some people got in touch. I spoke with some people from the Institute of Educational Planning at the University of Cape Coast. They told me that, well, they were surprised because they did not allow the teachers to send the questions outside after the exam. How the exam has been structured is that you have to answer the question on the question paper, and the question papers are taken from the teacher. So there was no way such questions could leak, let alone the answers being added to that one. Secondly, they say they are going to investigate as well, and they are shocked that the deputy director position examination could be out, even though they are even yet to write that exam.
That's Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kujonyako. Even teachers get Apo, and it's time for sports. Hans, you like Apo?
Oh no, I'm very honest. You know, yeah, integrity as white as snow.
So if we give you Apo, you won't take.
Forget.
Okay. So what's in sports?
Right. So former WBO Super Bantamweight champion Isaac Dogwe is set for a return to the ring in May against Mexico's Enrique Benache. Dogwe's last fight was a one-sided beatdown in a rematch against Emmanuel Navarrete after losing that WBO Super Bantamweight strap to the Mexican earlier. Father and former trainer Paul Dogwe says the fight will be a featherweight contest with the aim of eventually moving up to super featherweight.
Isaac is fighting this kid called Enrique Benache, a very tough Mexican, and it's a tune-up fight. You know, they're fighting in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They've been training for about 3 months now. That is Barry Hunter, and then Patrice Harris, and then some other guy, and then myself. So I would say the training camp is going well. The kid is happy. Isaac Dogwe is happy about his new trainers, and then the trainers too are happy, you know, to meet a boxer like Isaac. They love his style, you know. So everything is going well. We're going to have a couple of fights in featherweight and automatic move up to super feather, because we want the kid to be properly, you know, strong at his weight. You know, we believe super feather will be Isaac's weight, you know. because when the kid puts on weight, he's deadly. You know, his punches, you know, can pass through, you know.
That's father and former trainer of Isaac the Royal Storm, Dogbe, Paul Dogbe, speaking there, and he's confirmed Isaac Dogbe is returning to the ring in May against Mexico's Enrique Benache.
Let's get off to the Ashanti region now, because 8 shop bar operators arrested for preparing food under unsanitary conditions at Asafo Market in Kumasi have been fined a total of 6,360 Ghana cedis after being convicted for the offense. Heavy-duty equipment dealer Mantrak was also fined 600 Ghana cedis for piling up waste in its yard. Presiding judges of separate district courts also directed environmental officers to conduct further inspections of premises of the entities involved to ensure they have abated the nuisance. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko has more.
Look at the whole environment. Why do you cook? The sanitation enforcement team on Tuesday issued court summons to these chop bar operators found to be preparing and selling food in the midst of unimaginably filthy environment. The team found foul-smelling, choked gutters filled with decomposing organic matter sitting at the center of these spaces, which served as kitchen for these eateries. On the premises of some of the chop bars were stagnated, smelly water just distance away from where patrons sit to eat. Presiding judges, His Lordships Eric Nkansa and Her Lordship Aliata Said, convicted them on their own plea. They ordered further inspection of these places to confirm they have tidied up their workplaces or risk imprisonment. Enoch Nkansa is the prosecutor.
The sentences were that some of them were fined 100 penalty units each, others 50 penalty units each, and some 40 penalty units each.
That's Erastus Sasari Donko's report. Well, Kumasi, you already know, has a Make Kumasi Clean Again campaign to get rid of filth in the city. But there's a new campaign to complement the current one. Love News editor Said Ali Yaqub joins us on the line with details. Said, please tell us about this campaign and how different it is from the current one.
Well, good afternoon, Emefa. Well, it is not a different campaign. It is part of what we started last year after the launch of the KMA multimedia, i.e. Love FM and Insure FM sanitation campaign, which we launched last year, I think on the 28th of June, 2019. The impact has been very overwhelming so far. The initial effort was to focus on enforcement, and that is what the Sanitation Task Force has done over the time. And people have been appreciating and acknowledging the impact of what we are doing. So the question people have been asking is, what can they do to also contribute to this initiative? And then we think that it is time we added education and then also cleanups, mobilize the residents themselves to take charge of sanitation in their communities, in the trading centers and all these places. So, and that's what we have done. We've been able to gather about 16 trader associations and also local NGO Mark Twins.
Well, that's a Love News editor, Said Ali Yaqub. You ought to make Kumasi clean again whilst you keep Accra also clean. So yesterday during the SONA, there was a protest on the sidelines around the Parliament House to protest against the compilation of a new voters register. The NDC has a statement to that effect. What do we know, Papa?
Well, this statement is signed by the General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asedin Katia, and I'm going to read excerpts of it. It says that the cruel and barbaric manner in which the police used unjustified force in an attempt to suppress the constitutional rights of Ghanaians to protest peacefully was totally disproportionate and unwarranted. This callous application of force resulted in physical injuries to some of the protesters, including our Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations, Mr. Peter Buama Otikono. So the NDC says that Peter Buama Otikono was injured through the process, and it goes on to say, to top this aberrant behavior of the goons under the authority of Superintendent Kwesiofori, our MPs decry the harassment and intimidation by armed military men and heavily jacked up SWAT or national security operatives who characteristically stationed in the chambers of the House. We wrongly condemn this utterly unaccepted and despicable security arrangement. So this is the statement by the General Secretary of the NDC, John Session.
Of course, Komla Adam is waiting for you on, Sunday edition. And he's here already with what's trending on social media.
Apart from Adebayo trending because he gifted Funny Face a Porsche Panamera, there is a video which is making rounds, has over 19 million views, of a mother who was reporting about an incident of bullying of her child. Let's listen to this.
So I've just picked my son up from school, witnessed a bullying episode, rang the principal, and I want people to know, parents, educators, teachers, this is the effect that bullying has. I'm going to do myself. This is what bullying does. So can you please educate your children, your families, your friends, because all it takes is for one more instance and you wonder why kids are killing themselves.
So that was a mother who was talking. Her name is Yakara Baylis, and she is from Sydney. She was telling us a story about how her child, who has dwarfism or has been diagnosed of achondroplasia, has been bullied in school and continues to get bullied, and the child is now saying he wants to take his life. And this video has since, got a lot of views, nearly 10 million views on social media.
Let's stop bullying now. Whilst at that, stop doing your makeup whilst driving. Arrive alive. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Dr. Mensa Otabil is up next with Living Well. Thanks so much for your company.